Waiting for Road Warrior, William Hovey Smith, 2025.
This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman, and this episode is Waiting for Road Warrior. Here, we try two different setups, an attempt to predict where that turkey's going to go. And the first one is an evening set, and then the second one is a morning set in another way. The theory is that Road Warrior comes out from a low place and then makes a circuit through several food plots and then returns back down to the pond in the evening. Well, that's theory, and in fact it may still be so. And we attempted to find him on an evening set, and that was not successful. And we have just concluded a morning set in a different place, and that was not successful. So, what have we learned? Well, our turkey's getting very savvy here. For one thing, the gobblers don't gobble. They come in clucking rather than gobbling. And the hens even stay away from open areas and food plots. When they move through the woods, they do exactly that. They move through the woods. And I've heard them around me all day. And they have been on all sides of me, but they are going to be bred, and they're not interested in company. They do call, but the gobblers do not gobble or answer. And so we had hoped that one would come down this road. We were hoping that he would come to this spot where a myriad of trails come out of the woods onto this food plot, and they're also the intersection of three roads. But again, nothing happened, at least not yet. We know that we can set up on him sometimes between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock on a road where we have encountered him twice. And that seems to be our best bet. And I'm setting up with Helga in search of the Road Warrior. This is a food plot I mentioned in the last episode that I thought he might come to in later afternoon. And I rather expect him to arrive here, if my predictions are correct, sometimes about 2 o'clock. Right now it is high noon. And we have put out Helga. And I'm going to be over there in the woods, about 20 yards away. And hopefully we will call him in. Now the hens will be returning to the area where they are nesting. I've not hunted this food plot before this year, so I don't know if there are any around immediately here, although there may be. They were certainly over next door. And so we shall see what happens. Well, we are in our nest and awaiting developments. As I was parking the golf cart, it was actually a hen turkey sounded off in the woods just across the food plot right over there. So I suspect she may be nesting over there. But if I have live hens calling for me, so much the better. So we scrambled in here and got set up as soon as we could and called, and she did not respond. But at this early in the game, that's not really too significant. Turning now and looking at the setup, you can see Helga out there, and she's facing me, but broadside to the road, and also broadside to the edge. And it's actually at that edge that I expect Road Warrior to emerge, if he comes. The shadows are lengthening rapidly, and so I've moved Helga out twice Now she's approaching the middle of the food plot. But we still haven't seen any sign of road warrior or other toms come through. By this time of day, and it is between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, the hens are certainly on their nest, and road warrior himself is now completing his circuit back toward the pond where he's going to roost tonight. So I could set up down there somewhere in preparation for the morning, but I do not want to interrupt it. So if we go down there, we will do so in the morning. Well, now it's story time. And this time I want to tell you about how me and an Indian some thousands of years ago went turkey hunting together. This region was inhabited in pre-Columbian times, starting, they say, somewhere between 13,000, maybe as early as 20,000 years ago. And these early Indians used, of course, flint and jasper and chert to make their arrow points. They were what were available. Some were much more difficult to work with others. And when they found a good point, they would use it until it broke, and then maybe even try to fashion something else out of it. Well, from time to time, I do pick up Indian relics on the property. And these include some broken knife blades, some spear points, and arrow points. And one of the things that I found was a particularly colorful piece of red jasper. And I thought, the point itself is broken and not too much left of it, but maybe there's enough here to actually make a gunflint. And wouldn't it be neat to go out and chip a flint and put it in one of my muzzle-loading rifles and take a turkey with it? Yeah, that sounded like a good idea. Well, it took a little bit of doing. Well, first off, I wanted the rifle. Well, I had a Navy Arms Company 45 caliber rifle. Called a Kentucky rifle because it was shorter than the Pennsylvania rifle. It had a nice colorful patch box on it. And it took a flint that was arguably more or less about the size of this broken point, but not quite. So we took the point and we put it in a vise and we put some pressure on it and we chipped it and we worked it and we chipped it a little bit more and got it. It was bulky and big, but it worked. Once. If the point was sharp, it would strike fire. If it was dulled, it was not. Simple enough. Okay. This was going to be a one-shot turkey hunt. Either it did it or it didn't. Well, as you have heard and as you have witnessed, the turkey hunting thing is a sometimes saying. You can't shoot turkeys if you cannot see them. And so we had a blind that my brother-in-law and nephew had constructed, and it was overlooking a rather long area which they had planted. And so one day I got up in this blind with this rifle, with the idea of taking turkeys if they came up this food plot. Well, we were in the blind, and we were calling, and turkey came. Tom, legal bird. Well, I have shot at turkeys before, and I have missed turkeys. And I have hit turkeys partially, one of which I cut a groove down his back. It didn't hurt the bird, but just got the fluff of feathers up on top. And another one, I shot the beard off. Neither of those were very good outcomes. Interesting, but not good. So this time we had to wait. Well, the turkey saw the hen decoy. I had a hen out there in the middle of the plot, and he saw it. He was coming up toward it. Okay, 50 yards. I can shoot a turkey at 50 yards. But as long as he's coming, I'm going to let him come as close as he can get. 30 yards. Okay, this is getting serious now. So I go ahead and cock the gun. It has a set trigger. Once you cock that set trigger, merely a touch will set the gun off. I ease the gun over the top of the shooting rail. That shooting rail was a little bit high for me, so I had to push up a little bit on my toes so I could clear it. Turkey was coming. So, now what? Okay. I have missed turkeys before or failed to kill them with muzzle-loading rifles with a head-on breast shot. Preferred shot is a sideways shot through the wing butts. He was coming straight on. Well, he was looking at that hen most strangely. And finally he turned and offered a broadside shot. Lowered the sights right at the junction of the wing butt, touched that trigger. Bang! Black smoke. Flop, 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 flop. We got him. We did. So one of the first things I did was pick him up. Yes, he was very dead. And I didn't have the golf cart at that time. I was using my truck. So I walked back to the house and got my truck and went back and got him and went over and showed him to my sister, who was very interested in that I had finally taken a turkey and had done it with this particular gun. My wife, Tressa, had died by this time. But we had had previous experiences with that rifle, which was named Cantank, because I had missed deer with it even before, when it had failed to fire. And so she told me, that is, Tressa did, that rifle was a game conservation tool in my hands. Well, that time it all worked. And Cantank, the Cantankerous Kentuckian, got its turkey. And so did that Indian, so many decades and centuries ago, long dead.
On the writing front, we are awaiting the release date for my new book, Using AI to Make Your Own Job Anytime, Anywhere, at Any Age. And this is a fact-filled, very useful, and very accessible book. And what it tells you how to do is to come up with your own job ideas and then how to start a business in the U.S. Joining my novels, Until Death Do You Part, An American Family Meets Their Sicilian Cousins, and the Gold Farm Chronicles, I'm now working on a new novel, Petrov's Escape, which is largely set in Siberia, but interestingly enough, a good section takes place in the United States as they rebuild an ancient B-36 aircraft to fly a combat mission in Russia.
This was part of a logging yard once upon a time, and it's connected by a trail that you see beyond the decoy to another food plot, which is lower down. And so we have 3 road intersections here and a multiplicity of trails coming out of the woods, any of which turkeys may use. So we're hoping to get him here. And we've had hens calling already this morning. So they are saying, well, we're out here. Tom, where are you? And I haven't heard anything from him yet. He may or may not call when he comes down to the roost. And he may or may not gobble. Last time he approached with clucks, and I might expect about the same. So we're going to sit here and see what happens. Panning around, this is the view. It took me about 20 minutes of cutting and clipping to clear these areas so I could have a reasonable shooting lanes and get some of the tanglefoot out of the way so I could make it back in here without falling. My thoughts are that he's probably going to show up about 11 o'clock maybe. And it's a cloudy day, so they may sleep in a little bit on cloudy days. Plus, he had a heavy breeding day yesterday and the day before. So he may be feeling a little on the weak side, but we shall see. And here is a picture of the pile of stuff that went in with me on this hunt. And a caterpillar has found it. A lot of caterpillars out right now. Ticks too, by the way. More about them in another episode. For now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. Since I came by this morning, a hen came and dusted in this spot. Here, and then a little bit above. And yeah, but she did not come down the road despite my calling.